Hey everyone, and welcome to your Modern World Week 7 instructional launch. Just to recap a little bit about where we are as a class, the focus areas, you should have been, if you were on pace, you would have completed both of these. The forms of government focus area is the first one, and 11 out of 23 of you have completed that. The Enlightenment philosophers is the second one, and that should also be complete at this point, and only 4 out of 23 of you have completed that. So it's very, very important that you get a move on, as Bill Belichick is emphasizing. So Richard, if you are watching this, you do not have to complete the forms of government focus area. You came later in the year, and that one is not for you to do. You do need to do the Enlightenment philosophers and the project as well. So just, if Richard, you could skip the forms of government. For the project, the Ideas That Change the World project, it's just not looking good. So checkpoint 1, 2, and 3, we're all due in September, and we have less than 7 of you, which is under a third of the class has even started it. So that's, you guys don't need me to tell you that's a really bad number. So congratulations to the 6 of you who look like you're working really, really hard in this class. And I can guarantee that you guys are the ones who have perfect attendance each week. Everybody else is a little questionable. So checkpoint 4 is now going to be due on the 10th. That's next Tuesday. So again, if you're somebody who has not started it, it's very important to start with checkpoint 1 and get a move on. The Socratic seminar is no longer required. It's just everybody's at a different pace, and I don't want to make kids wait whenever they're trying to move on. So Socratic seminar is no longer part of the project, so don't worry about that one. So just to remind you again how important this is, the projects are worth 70% of your grade. So if you were somebody who is focusing only on focus areas, congratulations, you're going to get a 30% in your course if that's all you focus on. You cannot pass these courses without trying the projects. And the cool thing about this is you do not have to pass everything on the first try. It's all trial and error. Just submit something, and then it's our job to give you feedback and tell you how to make it better. And then we give you as many chances as you want, and we work to get the best possible product, and then we give you a grade from there. So if you guys are afraid of the projects, I just want you to try it. Just start it, and then let me give you feedback, and we'll go from there. But they're not as scary as you think. So right now, when I'm doing this is about how I feel about the projects right now. No one's even trying them. I'm a little frustrated, so let's get a move on. Attendance. The woman from Star Trek here is exactly right. Your attendance is not optional in cyber school. The state of Pennsylvania requires you to be enrolled in school and working 5.5 hours a day, 5 days a week. The cool thing about cyber school is you might not have to work that long to be as far ahead as other people in regular school or in brick and mortar school. But you do need to be working 5 days a week, or at least ending the week on pace. So just to remind you of our attendance policy, because I'm sure most of you in this class have received at least one letter at this point. In order to get perfect attendance, you need to complete the weekly instructional launches, which is what you are doing right now. And you need to submit work on 5 days a week or end the week on pace. So it's okay if you do not end the week on pace. And what I mean by on pace is, are you where you're supposed to be according to that pace chart that I keep referring to? And again, if you need to see it, it's on the About page of the Google Classroom. So if you don't end the week on pace, we at least need to show that you worked 5 days a week and you're trying your hardest to get caught up. And again, only 7 of you were marked as present every day last week. So at least 2/3 of you are going to be marked absent from me for at least probably 2 or 3 days. So it's important to get to work. How can you show you're working? You can submit checkpoints for feedback, take diagnostic assessments, master content assessments, and most importantly, set goals. There's a lot of things that we cannot see, and it is hard to document that you are working. If you are saying that you're working the playlist, that's great, but we cannot believe you unless we see that proof. And the only proof is going to be in the goals page. So if your goals page still looks like this picture here, that is bad news. You're more than likely being marked absent. You need to start taking advantage and filling in what are you working on each day. So that is not what we want. We want yours to look something more like this. You need to have every day outlined what are you going to be working on in each course each week. And then not only that, make the goals realistic. and follow through on them. The goal doesn't matter if you don't actually work on it and you're just putting something there. So just because you're putting things in there doesn't necessarily mean you're safe if you're not actually following through on the goals. So make sure when you do complete a goal, you go back in and you check it off and move on to the next thing. So if your goal page looks like this, then you should be dancing like this, lady, because that's exactly what we want. And you are probably one of the people who has perfect attendance. So last week we worked on checkpoint 1, which was the Enlightenment philosopher's secondary source analysis. And this week is checkpoint 2, which is the primary source analysis. So what you're going to do is use the Enlightenment philosopher's primary sources resource to complete this checkpoint. And you're going to be focusing on the author's his point of view on state of nature and government. So you would go into the SLP and you should be seeing a document that looks like this. And what you will do is you will pick, I believe this one you have to just pick one. You would pick either Thomas Hobbes, John Locke, Jean-Jacques Rousseau, and Baron de Montesquieu. So say I want to do Thomas Hobbes for my project. This is a primary source. So this means that Thomas Hobbes actually wrote this. And this part here gives you the context of what it is. So the following passage is an excerpt from his famous book, The Leviathan. So then this part is actually what he wrote. That's why it's a primary source. It's a historical document. So you're going to be using these primary sources then to answer the questions. So you would be looking at, for state of nature, you're going to find out what is Thomas Hobbes' point of view on this, meaning what does he think about the state of human nature? And you're going to show that through using quotes in here. So you have to read the document and find out what Thomas Hobbes' thoughts and beliefs are about the state of human nature. Then you're going to go down to the one on government, and you're going to find out what was Thomas Hobbes' point of view. What did he think about government? And then you're just going to put that into that document. So making sure that you're providing evidence and using the correct quotes. So again, focusing on the state of nature and government. You want to know the point of view. What was the author's point of view? What did he think about those two main issues? So for week 7, which is October 11th to October 17th, you should be working to complete the forms of government focus area and the Enlightenment philosopher's focus area, as both of those are now past due if you're following the pace chart. So making sure you're getting those done. If you've completed both, try the additional focus areas of Western ideals and early European democratic documents. Because without the additional focus areas, you max out at getting a 90% in the course. If you want to have an A+, you need to show that you've tried the additional focus areas. And remember, the focus areas are only worth 30% of the grade. So my biggest recommendation to all of you right now is to start that project. You need to get in control of the projects before they become too much, and it's going to take a long time to get caught up. So right now you're really not far behind. I stretched out this first project to give everybody enough time to settle into the year, but enough time has passed. It's time to get to work. So start that project and start submitting things regularly. And lastly, school hack number 3, studying hard for 30 to 50 minutes at a time with 10-minute breaks in between is the most effective way to study. Studying hard, that means the TV is off. It's okay to listen. I know some of you study with music, and that's okay as long as you can continue to be functional and really learn. So you're not checking Facebook and playing Candy Crush or video games or whatever you're doing. Studying hard means for 30 to 50 minutes, you have all of your distractions set aside and you are doing nothing but your schoolwork. You're taking notes, you're watching videos, you're doing whatever you can to learn that material. And then you take a 10-minute break, and that's when you get to distract yourself from the boredom of studying. So the 10 minutes should be the fun things, and the 30 to 50 minutes unfortunately needs to be the studying of the schoolwork. So try to make sure if you are studying, you're not wasting your time, and use your time to your fullest ability. So if you guys need anything this week, please send me a hangout, and I'm hoping to see a lot more of you working this week.